Hello and good morning, third grade scholars. I'm really excited to be here with you because today we're going to be reading one of my favorite books. It's a fun one. It is called
Giant Squid versus Sperm Whale.
Giant Squid versus Sperm Whale. And before we get started reading, let's just do a quick classroom reminder. So the chat box is only to be used when prompted. If you need to go to the bathroom, place BRB in the chat and wait for my thumbs up. Raise virtual hand to ask questions and use your real hand to answer questions during discussion. Your microphone should be turned off unless prompted, and your camera should always be turned on. So let's go back up here to where it says chat box is only to be used when prompted. So if I could prompt everyone to pull up their chat box, we are going to be placing how we feel today on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being the best day ever. On a scale of 1 to 5, how are you feeling today? And place your answer in the chat box. I'll give you a few moments. Good job. Thank you everybody for sharing. Looks like we have lots of 5s. So today we are going to be a certain type of detective. We are going to be text detectives. When we're reading the book Giant Squid versus Sperm Whale, we've got to figure out what are we looking for in the text. And we're going to do that by generating some questions. So before we get started reading, we are going to ask or make some wanderings. Then we have to find the answers to our questions or wanderings. And where are we going to find the answers? We're going to search through the text in the book to find our answers. We need evidence. So we need to prove that we figured out what the answers to our questions are. And we're going to do that by pointing to text-based evidence. The tools that we are going to use to do that are highlighting. So let's see. I just highlighted the word highlighting. So when we're reading Giant Squid versus Sperm Whale, we have to ask some questions. We have to figure out what are the questions we're trying to answer. We have to look closely at the text until we find information that supports and proves the answer to our question. So we're going to look closely at the text until we find information that supports or proves the answer to our question that we have previously asked. That's going to be our evidence. So just like detectives, we are going to use tools to solve the questions that we're asking. So let's practice. Up here it says, what do detectives do and what tools do they use? So the question is asking, what do detectives do and what tools do they use? Notice that I've highlighted the important part of the questions. The text below, we're going to look for the information that answers the question above. So the first part is, what do detectives do? The second is, what tools do they use? Let's see if we can find that in the text below. Detectives solve mysteries and look for evidence. They use many tools when looking for clues like magnifying glasses, binoculars, and notebooks. I think I found the answer to the question above. Now let's point to our text evidence using our highlighting skills. So the first part says, what do detectives do? Detectives solve mysteries and they look for evidence. Should I just highlight this whole sentence? I don't think so. I am only going to highlight the really important parts. So I know that we are talking about detectives, so I don't need to highlight that, but I am trying to point to the answer to our question. So it says, what do detectives do? They solve mysteries and they look for evidence. What tools do they use is the second part of our question. So let's see if we can find that. They use many tools when looking for clues like magnifying glasses, binoculars, and notebooks. So I think I found our answers. What do detectives do? They solve mysteries and look for, I'll highlight that as well, look for evidence. They use many tools when looking for clues like magnifying glasses, binoculars, and notebooks. I might not want to highlight many tools because we know what tools they use, and there are lots of them. So highlighting many tools might not be something that we want to do. Good job, everybody. All right, so let's continue. So now we're going to move on to making our wanderings. Oops. Let me go back. Excuse me. Okay, so we figured this out. We have to ask a question. And then in the book, we're going to look for evidence by highlighting. We are going to use a KWL chart to look for the evidence in the book.